We're going to be looking at some challenges of education in Nigeria and how best we can fix them. Now, we understand that if you take any piece of literature concerning education in the country, one thing that comes to mind is, a huge deficit in infrastructural developments as it relates to education in the country. Whereas in other climes, technological advancement seems to have taken into education. And in Nigeria here, we're still talking about, lack of adequate school buildings and, of course, lack of, functional infrastructure as it relates to education in the country. Well, this morning we are so privileged to have Mr. Robert Ahasoma, who is the former chairman of National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools. The former chairman of National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Ovia Northeast Local Government area in Edo State. Sir, you're welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
Thank you, my brother.
And we are also expecting the Honorable Commissioner for Education, who is going to be joining us virtually on the show today. Because, once we have issues like this, we'd rather go to the horse's mouth so that we hear from her. So when she joins, we're going to be asking her some very salient questions concerning our topic this morning. All right, so Mr. Ahasoma, we've talked about the infrastructural deficiency in the country. And of course, other parts of the world now, they don't talk about lack of adequate schools anymore, lack of good school buildings anymore. You hear people talk about technological advancements, ICT in the education sector and all that. Now, here we are in Nigeria. So how do we begin to think of bridging this gap? Let's start from there.
The biggest problem in Nigeria educational system is funding. Funding. F-U-N-D-I-N-G. Funding. That's the biggest problem in our educational system. I don't know. The budget President Tinubu passed, submitted to the House of Assembly that was passed, was about 27 point something trillion naira. And only 6 point something percent was earmarked for education, which amounted to about 1.5 trillion. That's the problem with our educational system. United Nations has advised Nigeria to increase our budgetary allocation for education to 20%. Severally, repeatedly. And this call has not been heeded. That's the problem with our educational system. Upon that, again, is the issue of, like they say now, political local parlance, when you earmark it, you should earmark it. Even the budget, the allocation for education, you will not see it in the educational sector. You will not see it. Yes. You say you want to spend 100 billion in education. What will eventually be spent will not be more than 20. Corruption is the underlying issue.
Yeah, because when you say that only a certain percent, is being allocated for education, a lot of people we think that, when we're talking about budgets, it's not as if maybe the fund is even there. It's just something that you say, okay, when the fund is available, we are expected to use X, Y, Z amount. Now, for the past few years now, Nigeria has been going through, some form of hardship, even in terms of trying to realize funds, to really make the budget work. So don't you think that is probably the reason why we've not been attaining XYZ amounts as it is in the budget?
That's not it. That's not it. The money for education is actually there. We used to have trust fund and all that. Why was it in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you had foreigners, the white men coming to Nigeria to study? Why are they no longer coming? Why are they no longer coming? Why is it that now we are going abroad? We're even traveling to less developed nations, nations that are less endowed than Nigeria, to to educate our children. Why? Is that lacuna, that gap that we have refused to fill. We budget very little for education, and even the little we budget, we don't see it. We don't see it. There's so much corruption. There's so much corruption.
Okay, now, apart from, that funding seems to be a major problem in, challenges in education, let us also look at other aspects of the problems now. We'll talk about lack of adequate manpower. You know, the stigma, so to say, of being called a teacher is still right there.
Okay.
Only
you call it a stigma now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the way some people call it. Even when we agree that teaching is a noble profession, but for most people it has become a stigma and all that. Now, but let's begin to look at it, because whether we like it or not, whether some persons say that the teaching profession has been stigmatized, so to say, we will continue to have teachers. People will continue to take into that profession. So how do you think we should begin to redirect the interest of would-be teachers in this light?
I'm proud to be a teacher, and if there's reincarnation, I would love to be a teacher again. Yes, no matter the stigmatization, no matter the poor remuneration, no matter what they're doing to us. Look at lecturers were at home last time for 7-8 months, and it amounted to nothing. Even the salaries have not been paid till now. They paid part and left them. And nothing happened. That shows that our education system has really hit an ignorance rock. It's shattered. These are our biggest teachers, the lecturers, so to say. They asked for something and you told them, go to hell. They went on strike and you told them, remain there. Nothing happened, nothing. 7-8 months. And the poor lecturers merely came back in the interest of the children. You see, it shows that they are true teachers. Teachers have this, affectionate feeling for their children. They don't want their children to suffer. Even when they are suffering, they are passing through fire to make sure their children gain the education they came to that institution for. They don't care. They want to make sure they attain the goal of education. And nothing happened. So these are some of the problems. If you ask a little child today, there are trending videos. You ask a child, you want to be a teacher, I say, God forbid. You hear them mentioning some other, so to say, profession that they want to be. Not teaching at all. Nobody wants to be a teacher anymore. I'm sure very soon we won't be having enough teachers at all. We are saying now that there's deficit of teachers. Very soon, a few years from now, if nothing is done by stakeholders, especially government, for especially remuneration and infrastructure in education, we will not be having teachers anymore. There will be a very big problem.
Okay. Now, with what is going on in Edo State now, Edo State seems to be in the lead when we talk about, trying to bring ICT into education, information technology in education and all that. And that is what is obtainable in other climes now. But we still have one or two issues. It seems that, there are issues and all that. So from your own perspective, you are not with the Edo State government. You are in the private. We are going to come to that. You are in the private ownership of our school, of our schools now. So these issues, how best can we describe it from your own perspective? I mean, looking at it from your own point of view.
Going into ICT is not a problem. Information, communication technology. It's not a problem. But are we ready for it? Are we ready for it? For instance, in my area, where my school is situated, there has not been light for close to a year. You cannot buy fuel.
Where is that?
Igweya community here.
Igweya here?
Yes, after Isio, before Oluku, before this your office. There has not been light for close to a year. We've been crying. The cry to no avail. Nobody is minding us. Nobody is listening to us. Nobody is doing anything about it. So how do you want me to practice information communication technology? How do you want me to operate my computers? I should go and buy fuel at 700 naira per liter to run for how long? So we are not even ready for that. That is the truth. There is no power. You want me to install solar? Millions, millions? I don't even have the money. Government does not give us grant. They don't give us loan. So how do we survive? The attention, the porous attention to education calls for greater understanding. Yes.
And attention too.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's come to the private ownership of schools now. There has been an argument for quite some time that probably private ownership of schools, you guys are just there to make the profit, not necessarily trying to bridge the gap. Is that correct?
I just lamented my plight to you in terms of power. I don't know. If they think we are making money, they should prove it. I've been erecting one building, for the past 6 years. I'm not true. We take loan. Repayment of those loans is not an easy thing. We take everything we have, all our resources, into repayment. Family members even help us to repay those loans. Government does not give us infrastructural facilities. They don't give us loans. They don't give us grants. In other countries, they give them grants. They give private school grants. Why? Because we are training your children, the citizens, the indigenes of the state, the citizens of the country. So the government should be interested in our business. If you call it a business, even though as far as I'm concerned, it's a social service, and really it's a social service, but the government should be interested in that social service. Even if you think it's a business, we are employing your citizens. We are employing them. We are providing employment. And we are training your children. If we were not there, can the government schools cater for the millions out-of-school children in Nigeria? It's not possible.
Yeah, you talk about employment. The employment that the private schools provide for Nigerians, are they really gainful employments?
I don't know what you mean by gainful employment.
I mean, there are indications, there are allegations that most schools, or some schools I should say, you employ maybe a fresh graduate, you pay him 50,000 naira. I mean, looking at the present economic reality, what is 50,000 naira to a graduate?
You have to first ask, what is the turnover of that school at the end of the year? Is it not what you make you use to pay your staff? You will also pay yourself. I pay myself. I pay myself. And I cannot exceed what I pay myself. If I do, there will be a problem in the school. The school will not run as normal. What is my take home? That's the first question you should ask me. What is my take home? Is what we earn, the income that we use, that we generate, we use in paying our staff and use in running the school. Anytime we operate computer, they want to go to the computer lab, we put on the generator. It's for no extra cost to the parents. They don't know, they don't care.
Yeah, but everything is built in the school fees.
It's not there.
It is.
It's
I mean, a situation whereby, I mean, in Benin City, there is no private secondary schools now that charges below 45,000 naira as school fees per term. I mean, a situation whereby you have like 25 students in a class.
You want me to tell you how much I charge?
You take 45,000 naira.
You want me to tell you how much I charge? If you say 45,000, those are the very big schools. My school fees is not up to 20,000.
As school fees?
Of course. If you say that amount, hardly anybody in my vicinity can afford it. Hardly anybody in my vicinity can afford it. You don't want them to go to school. And then your school will not also run.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the government now. We understand that there has been this call that there should be a kind of a merger between what is going on in the public schools and the private schools. There's no doubt that when it comes to ICT, in education, most states' government, Edo State that I know very well, is on the lead, taking it to compare to the private schools. Now, I remember I've had you on this program, and you solicited for a kind of a cooperation from between you and the government and all that. And is that forthcoming? And if it's not forthcoming, what do you think should be done so that the private schools can actually be part of what is going on in the state-owned schools?
Well, I am not in the public sector. like you know, I mean the private sector. I hear them say what's going on there is impressive. The governor is trying. Fine, he's trying. But like you said, I was on this program some time ago, and I appeal to the commissioner. I mean, I appeal to the governor through the commissioner to also come to our aid. We are also teaching, we are educating Edo State children. What is good for the geese is good for the gander. You can't be giving infrastructure, giving facilities to public school, and you leave private school totally, completely, without any attention whatsoever. It's not okay. That's not how it's done in the developed world. At least we pay tax to you. We pay tax. I pay tax. No private school in this state doesn't pay tax. We all pay tax. So you should also have something you give back to us as a way of encouraging us to thrive. So I am using this medium again to appeal to His Excellency, the governor of this state, Godwino Obaseki, to come to the aid of private schools.
Now, when you say give something to private schools now, in what perspective are you looking at it from? Is it maybe in trying to maybe help assist to retrain your staff? Because that has been a major concern to most parents, that most teachers in private schools, I mean, a situation whereby there are allegations that a school set owner, a secondary school set owner, that has barely even had his complete work results, is employed to teach, does that not call for concern?
That's very funny. It's laughable. We employ graduates. You said it earlier. We employ graduates, we employ NCE holders. Yes, and they have been trained. We also do training and retraining. We do training on the job. We organize symposia and seminars. You know NAPS, National Association of Providers of Private Schools. NAPS, nationally, statewide, even local government, we organize seminar and symposia for our teachers. In fact, this of your notice organized one last term. Yes, last term, for all teachers in private school in these local governments. And some state executive attended it. Yeah, most to witness the program.
When you talk about seminars now, most job seminars these days is really not to, it's maybe organized for your staff on how to draw attention back to the business, because whether you like it or not, you're in business. So those people that help you to run the business are your staff. So you organize seminar for them, maybe a talk show on how to improve on sales, attract more students and all that. But we're talking about, teachers now going for qualified
you are watering
training.
You are watering down.
No, but that's the reality.
No, that's not correct. We do training and retraining, seminar and symposia on teaching methodologies. Teaching methodologies.
Modern teaching methodologies.
Exactly. Including teaching, including online teachings. I am sure, let me be hopeful that we'll be able to invite you to one of our seminars, forthcoming seminar. Very soon we shall be having one. I am a resource person in education because all my years I've been in education. I have all my degrees in education. I go to give talks and seminar and all that. So I'm sure we'll invite you so that at least you have first-hand knowledge of what we are doing there.
Yeah, the reason why we are saying
teaching methodology, how to teach, new ways of teaching, various methods of teaching, so that the children will, assimilate and finally, gain the essence of their education.
And does that include the modern teaching method as related to the orthodox, teaching method?
Of course.
The modern teaching method now is gravitating towards information technology.
Of course.
So is that what you do?
Of course.
But how come the government, the state, this Edo State government seems to be on the lead in that regard?
Well, you see, the entire teaching process cannot be ICT. Do you understand? Cannot be ICT. The teacher cannot give you everything he's got in here through ICT. There is what we call child-centered teaching. The approach. There are approaches to education. Child-centered approach. You allow the child discover And you watch the child. As the child discovers, then insight will come. That's gainful teaching, gainful learning. It's not all about computer. You don't discover everything on the computer. Otherwise, just give the computer to the child and let the child study at home. There is the teacher-pupil interaction. There are the demonstration methods. There are so many methods. And a mix of all these give a balanced education. So we don't just rely on ICT and say that's the be-all and the end-all according to Macbeth. No. It's a mix of all the methods that give a balanced education.
Yeah, the curriculum development, is also an aspect of challenges in education. Because I remember those days when we were in school, we had at times that chief inspectors of education would come, and our teachers would go around classes to plead with us that we should be of best behavior and all that. Now, all those were geared towards ensuring that teachers stay put to curriculum. Now, the private schools are being fingered. That's most private schools. Little wonder whether they even have, if their curriculum, is related to what is obtainable with the owners of education, take Ministry of Education and all that. So it appears that most times that the private school just have its own curriculum and all that and all that.
Well, I will speak for myself and the group I belong to. If you come to my school, we have the curriculum, we have syllabi, we have schemes of work. The syllabus, as it were, is broken down to schemes of work, which are used termly. Now, I have spoken for myself. Let me now speak for NAPS, National Association of Proprietors of Private School. NAPS has a developed curriculum broken down into schemes of work for nursery, primary, and secondary. Sold in our office, developed by NAPS. Our Educational Resource Center of NAPS developed it. So all NAPS member schools have this. We also have the one by the Ministry of Education. We also have the one by WAEC.
When you
we also have that by NECO.
Mr. Chairman, former Chairman, when you say NAPS developed your curriculum now, was the Ministry of Education, did they approve that?
Of course. It's not, when this curriculum is not different from what the Ministry of Education has developed. It's practically the same thing. But if you and I were to teach, say, a topic, Nigeria, we will teach it from two different angles, two different perspectives. Your point of view will be different from my point of view. So that's the only difference there. But are you topics aware, are the same thing.
Yeah, are you aware that
teaching steps and methods are practically the same?
Are you aware that this curriculum keeps on changing? Take for example, the state government now. Government, let us not restrict it to Edo State alone because we're talking about Nigerian thing now. Now, take for example, the 6334 system of education that I grew up to meet has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, now in Edo State, it is 9 years of elementary education, and so also the curriculum has changed in this direction. Now, are you aware, is that part of what the kind of curriculum that you have now?
Yes, the curriculum is rolled out by the Federal Ministry of Education. Sent to all states. From there, you pick your own. It is now the 933 system of education.
Yeah. It is now the 9 years of basic education.
934 system of education. Okay. That's what we have now.
934.
Yes. Yeah. You no longer have primary 6. You say primary school leaving certificate examination. No, it's no longer being done that way. Yes, you just move from primary 6 to primary 7, which is basic 7.
Yeah.
Basic 8 and basic 9, which is the GS3.
GS1, GS2.
That's the way it goes now.
Okay.
And the curriculum has been developed in that pattern. You cannot change it. You are not the developer of the curriculum. It's the Federal Ministry of Education. And then they send it down to all states from where you draw. So that's the way it is. You can't do something different. It's not possible.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So a while ago, you talked about that NAMS trained, each staff, your teachers and all that. Now, have you people ever approached the state government that, okay, there's a training going on now? Because we know that, all the time the state government trains teachers and all that. Has NAPS, approached the state government that, hey, these are our teachers, assist us in training them. Do you have something like that?
In the past, it has been done, but in recent time, it hasn't been done.
So why
that? But when we are having trainings, we let the ministry know. We let them know. We let them know.
It's not just letting them know. Don't you think there should be some inclusive, things?
Yeah, where will they source their manpower, their personnel? Is it not the universities, the lecturers, the professors, and others? It's the same people we call. So it's the same thing at the end of the day.
Okay.
There's no special input. The training is training. The educational research methods are the same. So just different manpower, different personnel. So it's the same thing. Okay. The only thing is that perhaps the government would have done it for us for free. Then we will not be paying for it, which the government hasn't come up with.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so viewers out there, we are talking about fixing the challenges of education in Nigeria this morning. And we have Mr. Robert Asoma, who is the former chairman of National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Obia Northeast local government in Edo State here. Now, he's from the private sector, and we thought we could have the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Edo State so that she can also bear her mind on some of the issues that we are talking about here. Now, before we let you go, because we know that you have to be in school, you have to be at work this morning. Now, let us talk about something that I always like talking about when I have your people here, the private school owners now. Now, the schools have just resumed for another term. This is the last term for this academic calendar, if I'm correct now.
You're right.
Now, we are not buying books.
You're not buying books. Except your notebooks are exhausted.
Yeah.
You replace them.
But we have some very issues that you find some schools, they still insist that the notebooks you bought last term, you are not going to continue using them. You have to buy new notebooks because those notebooks are sold to these students by these schools. Are you aware of that?
Well, some schools do these customized notebooks. But that doesn't stop you from continuing from where you stopped last time.
But
if the book is not exhausted, you will continue till it's exhausted. Then you buy another.
But are you aware that some schools, there are allegations now that some schools force it on students that is for last time? Because I was in school. I remember those days in school. If the term ends, all you do, you can leave a page. Then you continue with the fresh page, second term, third term, and all that. But these days, allegations are that some schools insist that note, even if it's not finished, if it's not exhausted, that you keep that aside, you get a new one.
I'm not aware of that. If you have such an allegation, if you have such a, why not report to us? Let us know.
Instead of me reporting,
let us know, and we will approach the schools and ask them why. A child still has space left in the note. Why are you not allowing the child to continue from where he stopped? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we have to leave this discussion here now so that we can join Abuja, who is waiting for their discussion segment. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Roberts, for finding time to join us on the show this morning.